going on, everybody? This is the NWA Spotlight as presented by the PWZ podcast. My name is the Professor Rick Del Santo, joined by the benefactor, Mickey Biggs.
Mickey Biggs.
There you go. Mickey Biggs making his return to the NWA Spotlight. He's been out of commission for, a week or so?
I was here last week.
Were you? No, you weren't.
No, the week before. I
was gonna say I had replacements for you last week because
before. Yeah, last week I was sicker than Hades.
Yeah. So hopefully you're better.
No more food poisoning. So.
Well, there's that. That's always a positive. Better move my screen. Oh my God! Speak of the devil, look who it is. What happened to the head honcho, Adonis? He's gone. The professor has returned. We will hit me up later, and I'll tell you the story about how that came about. So today we're going to be talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. We've got NWA USA, NWA Powerrr. We're going to be talking about Always Ready. I'm going to be mentioning some United Wrestling Network blips, news, 2 results from, and then of course I'm going to be breaking down or hitting up Flair, Ricky Steamboat situation as well. I'm sure that you're more than well aware of that, correct, Mick?
Oh, yeah. And I just actually read an update on that today.
Me too, but we'll get to that in a little while. Let's start off with a little bit of NWA USA from this past Saturday. I watched that today because I was at work when the show aired. I have to tell you that I thought Velvet was bad at commentary. And then they put Medusa on there, the two of them together with Joe Galli. As great as Joe Galli is as a commentator, he could not save it. Sorry, buddy. Man,
that was
I wanted to ram my head into a wall. Yeah, it was bad. But the show overall, I thought, was really good. It was just the commentary really could not do anything for me. And that's a very important part of watching a professional wrestling program.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't have good commentary, you're not going to get drawn into what's going on.
Correct. Like I said, I really what was my favorite match on Saturday? I really thought that Mike Bennett and Kerry Morton was a really good match. I thought that was awesome.
Really good match. Yep.
That was really good.
I also like the genocide match.
Yeah. The thing I like about NWA USA is it's a good short program. It goes about anywhere from like 25 to maybe 35 minutes at the most. So it's really quick, fast paced, and you only get about 2 to 3 matches and a bunch of promos and such.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is in that just estimated that half hour. For being a half hour, that show offers a lot.
Yeah,
and the funny part about that is and we're going to catch heat for saying this, and a lot of people are going to disagree.
Sure.
But in that 30 minutes, I'm more entertained usually than I am watching 2 hours of Raw.
100%. 100%. I try to sit through Raw for the sake of the podcast that me and Marcel do, and it is very hard sometimes. A lot of times I'll end up watching it Tuesday mornings, fast forwarding through a lot of stuff.
I honestly can't even watch it anymore.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple good segments this past Monday, but it was nothing to write home about, but I just wasn't interested. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I
like I said, I don't even watch Raw anymore. I don't watch SmackDown. All I do watch is NWA.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I mean, I do watch some other independent stuff. Like I said, I watch the United Wrestling stuff, the Championship Wrestling programs from, Georgia, Hollywood, Memphis, etc.
The funny thing is when I go onto like the WWE Network, I'm watching all the old classic stuff that they took from the NWA library.
Pretty much that old Mid-South. I watched a lot of the earlier ECW recently when it was NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling not so long ago, if you remember that.
Yeah, I was there that night that it switched.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, like I said, Mike Bennett defeated Kerry Morton, which I thought was a really, really great and short, pretty much television match. Genocide defeated MJ Jenkins and Colby Corino and defeated Caprice Coleman, which I was actually kind of shocked that Colby went over on Caprice Coleman. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to stop and think about it for a minute.
All right. So, and then of course
Tuesday I like the show of respect at the end of Mike Bennett and Morton's match, though. That was a good show of respect.
You don't see that too often, but it's always good when that does happen, I think, at least.
No, absolutely.
So we had NWA Powerrr on Tuesday. NWA Powerrr opened with Nick Aldis and Matt Cardona talking at the announce table with Joe Galli. Cardona said that Aldis didn't deserve a title shot despite it being announced for Always Ready. We're going to be talking Always Ready a little bit in the future. Aldis talked about how he was resisting attacking Cardona at the moment because he wanted the gold, especially after he laid his hand on Mickie James, his wife. Cardona wanted a death match with Aldis, while Aldis wanted a steel cage match. Billy Corgan and the NWA officials stated that they would deliberate and announce the stipulations for the title match soon. So that was, I thought that was interesting. Where do you think that that's going to go?
That's and part of me agrees with, and you know how much I hate Cardona, but part of me agrees with Cardona, and that yes, Nick Aldis is a great champion, but he's already, his rematches have already expired. It's time for them to move on to somebody else. Who
else do they have? That's my question. Besides the Pope,
they've got to grow somebody. That's all. They've got to bring somebody in and grow that talent.
I mean, the NWA under Corgan's regime has this thing for just bringing in people and throwing them in the main event. Look at Mike Knox and whatnot. That's what they've done several times. So, who the hell are they going to bring in? I don't want to just see something like that. I want to see a good story or build.
He wasn't retired.
Who's
he
that?
Wasn't retired. You know who I would love to see take on Cardona? The Blueprint, Matt Morgan.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. I mean, Matt Morgan, I thought was a pretty okay guy, a big guy. Yeah,
that would to me that would be a great match.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would probably, but I can't really think. I mean, there's also there's a lot of people that could go, like the guys that look at all the people that got released over the last year. You know what I mean? What about Cesaro? I'm sure that Corgan, that would be a really good get, at least to bring him in just for a program.
Yeah, I agree. That would be good. Yeah, it would be funny if Ric Flair's final match was against Matt Cardona, and they put him over for the belt.
I cannot see anything like that happen, but
oh, neither could I, but it would be hilarious.
Yeah, it'd be one of those 1 minute things. What about David Harry Smith or whatever? I think that he's battling in there. I know he's in the tag team with Doug Williams. He could be a good competitor for the belt as well.
Yeah, absolutely could be. Yeah. I mean, who I'd like to go see for the belt is Homicide.
Yeah, he's the current junior heavyweight champion, so I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Oh, neither do I, but it would still be, something.
Right. The Pope and Trevor Murdoch were at the podium with Kyle Davis. Pope mentioned that Murdoch was hurt along the way and that he would never heal if he kept being bitter. That Pope and the people stand with him. Pope reminded that Murdoch that carried the legacy of Harley Race, and the Race would slap him to bring the fire back in him. I thought this was a really good segment. Yeah, this is a really, really good segment.
Oh, you know what?
Andy
Speaking of
Nichols, what's
Aaron
happening, my
Stevens,
man?
Hey Andy, what's going on, buddy? Speaking
Andy
of
or Aaron Stevens, yeah. But Aaron Stevens is supposedly, according to what, a week or two ago, he's leaving the NWA.
right, well, that's what I was going to say. According to what I've heard, speaking of Aaron Stevens, he's leaving. But did you hear
Right.
the other side of that rumor?
No, I was assuming that it was a work, but I was going
So
to wait and see how that folded.
supposedly WWE is interested in bringing him back to play. Um, oh my God, what's his name? Elijah, or whatever the hell his name is.
Oh, Elias is, and yeah.
Elias'
Is that true?
brother.
I did not hear anything like this.
Like I said, it's rumor, but I haven't. If they did that, that would be awesome.
It would be funny, but I doubt that would happen personally. The NWA Women's Tag Team titles, the Hex, Allison Kay and Marty Bell defeated Maddie and Kenzie Page. I thought this was a really, really good match for a women's tag team match. I think the Hex are a really, really great women's tag team. I know Andy's not a big fan of women's wrestling. I don't know. I think the NWA is doing pretty good by it, though.
They're doing good by it. I think Aaron is starting a faction with Sasha and No. They're heading to GCW.
Let me put that up on the screen. There you go.
Oh, that was good. Oh, thanks for making me laugh.
Andy's kicking out some good jokes over the last couple of days. Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, they're a good tag team, and me personally, I'm with Andy. I'm not a huge fan of women's wrestling. It has its place, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. And that's generally because 99% of the time, the promotions out there don't use the women properly. So it just looks horrible most of the time because they're not used properly. If they would treat the women as the counterparts of the men as they should, and treated them equally, then they would be able to put out a better product.
Correct.
Stop treating them like eye candy and let them wrestle.
Okay. Yeah, I agree for the most part. I think that the NWA, or I don't know, I think right now women's wrestling is treated more seriously than it ever has as far as quality and less as eye candy. I mean, obviously places like WWE require women look a certain way, but they also have to put on, be able to put on a great match as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of that is dealt to poor commentary too, like we said earlier. If you don't have a good commentary team, you're not going to invest your interest into the match.
Right.
No matter how good it may be, if the commentary is not there to do their job properly, then it's the match is just going to be boring.
Right. We go to Colby Carino taking on AJ Kazana. I did not know that AJ Kazana was a third-generation wrestler. His father and grandfather both wrestled. This is a nice little short, I guess. I don't really want to call it a squash match, but Carino did dominate the majority of the match. Kazana was looking pretty good here, I thought, but Carino walked away with the win. Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Who's his father and grandfather?
That I am unsure. Andy, you're in the chat. Are you aware?
Andy, do you know who that is?
Yeah. Well, Joe
Scarpa?
No, I think that's a joke. All right. So then we went to the NWA USA highlights, and then the promo with the Briscoes. We're at the podium with Kyle Davis, Mark Briscoe, said that La Rebellion were lucky they barely beat them and that they weren't done coming for them. They promised the next time they faced off, the Briscoes would be NWA Tag Team Champions.
Joe Cardona.
Oh, I got you. Joe Cardona was
okay.
Got you. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. It's a nice little promo by the Briscoes. They sold me on this. I'm looking forward to seeing them and La Rebellion coming soon.
La Rebellion.
Yeah. Of course, we went through Jax Dane, in the end, defeating the ill-begotten Rush Freeman, Jeremiah Plunkett, and Alex Taylor, and Marshe Rockett and Jordan Clearwater in a team war match. This match was really kind of all over the place, but it was a lot of fun. La Rebellion versus La Resistance. Yeah, there you go, Andy.
Remember La Resistance in WWE back in the day?
Yes, I do. Yep. Of course, right from there, we went Mickie James defeated Natalia Markova. And, Tater Peeler, Tennessee. That's where Jeremiah Plunkett's from. Great guy right there. So, yeah, man, this was overall a pretty good NWA Powerrr episode, I thought.
I think I needed to move to Tater Peeler, Tennessee.
That's a great name for a town, isn't it? City.
It is. It's awesome.
Probably in the middle of nowhere.
I guess it's no worse than Walnut Grove.
Right.
So.
Ooh.
And for anybody out there that doesn't know what I just referenced, then you're too young to worry about it.
So, anyways, of course, Ricky Steamboat had what's that?
I said, NWA Powerrr was a good show. NWA USA was a good show.
I thought that this was the best NWA Powerrr episode that I've seen in quite some time. To be honest with you,
I would agree with that.
It was not because, like, a lot of times in the recent history, I've wanted to shut it off halfway through, and this one is just, this one kept me interested throughout the whole episode. And there's a couple things that I could be kind of annoyed with, such as Gags the Gimp, in the Father James Mitchell's gimmick here in NWA. I don't think it really fits the NWA in there how they are, but overall it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting that whole. I mean, I understand that that's his character and he's been that way, forever. But come on, man, it's not NWA material.
I mean, I don't think that his gimmick per se isn't, because I mean they've had some time, gimmicks, similar gimmicks. It's just some of the characters that he brings in. Judias, I'd say, okay, yeah, sure, he was an NWA Wildside, etc., Anarchy Wrestling. It's just that what they're doing with somebody like Sal Renaro currently, or them bringing in this Gags the Gimp character, which is just, to me, it's just wretched. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. They need to do better.
You can't have everything look like Crockett 87 Studio. Yeah, you can't. Like I said, you can't have it all look like the Techwood Drive Studios, but you need to progress a little bit. But there's certain things I just particularly don't care for that I find ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's too gimmicky. It's too cartoonish.
We need less Tyrus, Andy. That's the thing. And this episode proved that he was. I thought this episode was perfect for him. He was not, even though he was on commentary, he didn't annoy the hell out of me.
Speaking of cartoonish, and I know that we normally, like I said, this NWA show, but I have to bring this out only because I brought it out on my other show on Saturday. Did you hear? Are you familiar with Kayfabe News? The website,
yeah, of course.
Kayfabe News.
I read that pretty much daily. Yeah.
Okay, so did you see their report that they did about what WWE is doing right now with The Undertaker?
I don't think so. Maybe.
So Kayfabe News is reporting that WWE is starting a reality TV show on the WWE network, and it's called oh God, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's all dedicated to naming The Undertaker 2.0 and having 10 people compete to see who's going to be the next phenom of the WWE and replace The Undertaker, and they're going to call him Undertaker 2.0. I said, "Oh my God! Can you imagine how many people would think this was actually legit?"
I know somebody that did think some of those things that they posted was legit, and they'd send them to me all the time, and I kept having to tell them, "No, this is a satire site. It's not real."
I mean, just to watch it, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
Yeah. So I guess it was announced that Ricky Steamboat will not be part of the Ric Flair's final match, or last match, excuse me, at the Nashville Fairgrounds. I guess that what they said was he was heavily considering it, but then he said no. He goes, I was approached and I've given it some really serious thought. A lot of respect for the guy in the ring. Both of us are right. Both of us are night and day, and when it comes to stuff out of the ring. So he said, hang on, let me scroll down a little bit in my notes.
Basically, it was a polite way of Ricky Steamboat saying,
yeah,
pound sand.
No, he's a mess. I thought about it for a week and just recently declined on it. I know when I wrestled Jericho at WrestleMania 25, and then we had the return match at Backlash in the singles at 69, and I know it's a 6-man tag. I can get a little this and a little that in, but with all due respect to our fans, I want them to remember me the last time I was in there with Jericho when they chanted, "You still got it." I don't want to scar that phrase. So I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, 69 years old, 73 years old, that's, I worry about Ric Flair going into the ring, especially with that pacemaker. He's got it for a reason. And hopefully Marco Stunt will wrestle Flair.
I'd love to see that one. As much as I'd love, the kid in me would probably love to see Flair and Steamboat one more time. I know it would be a disaster. The adult in me I would know, I'd be sitting there cringing and saying, hey, this is not good, because not that it would be bad necessarily, but the gentlemen are too old, and it's been years since they've been in that kind of shape to wrestle. And like you said, Flair has a pacemaker. And what was Steamboat's health issue? He had a health issue not so long ago either. So anything can happen between the two. Anything can happen.
Instead of everybody chanting "This is awesome" and clapping and stamping, they'd be chanting, "This is disgraceful. This is disgraceful," because it would be a disgrace on their. It would definitely be a smudge to their legendary status.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you might be right about
Jared
that.
Hall on a pole match.
All right, you guys are kicking it in there with the jokes tonight. All right, Mick, what else do you have for tonight? Do you want to discuss anything else?
I mean, we got nothing. I mean, we went over NWA. We went over all the NWA stuff. I'm not going to say who it is, just in case, because we all know this is professional wrestling, and card is always subject to change. But there is a special guest lined up next week that should be on with us. And if everything goes according to plan, he is booked. He is all confirmed. But like I said, this is wrestling, and card is always subject to change. But I think everybody's going to enjoy this guest. He's a good friend of mine, dear friend of mine. I'm going on 22, 23 years I've known this guy. And all I can say is he was pretty prominent back in the day in the NWA scene. And has gone for the NWA World Title, and no, it is not Behemoth. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, but yeah, no, it is not Behemoth. But he is, like I said, a dear friend, and if everything goes well, he will be on with us next week, and he'll fill you in on his lengthy NWA career and what he's done within the NWA.
I'm looking forward to that. I know you spoke to me, but we're not going to reveal it until it gets closer and confirmed. So we will all let y'all know as it gets closer. Because,
And
like you
no, it is
said,
not
anything could
Crazy Don
happen.
Rock.
Nope.
He's throwing
Nope.
out.
Nope. Nope.
He's throwing out all these people from LIWF that
Oh,
we worked with. Behemoth
that's
and
right.
Crazy Don Rock. Behemoth used to come out in a dress with a blonde wig with braids and looking all kinds of crazy. Yeah.
So Sunday, June 11th, it is NWA Presents Always Ready. That's the NWA. It's going to be a tribute podcast to the NWA World Champion Matt Cardona. So you already know that Matt Cardona is going to be defending the belt against Nick Aldis. Stipulation to be decided sometime soon as it gets closer. Billy Corgan, like as I said, will announce that a little bit later. But the National Heavyweight Championship, Jax Dane will be taking on Chris Donis, NWA TV title. Tyrus is taking on Big Strong Mims. That one I'm looking forward to. I'm going to call it now. Mims is going to walk away with the TV title. World Tag Team titles. La Rebellion taking on the Commonwealth Connection. Let's see, NWA Women's Tag Team titles. The Hex taking on Pretty Empowered, and the Women's Heavyweight Championship, Women's Championship, sorry. Camille taking on Kylan King. Taya Valkyrie makes her NWA debut against Natalia Markova, and the Mortons taking on the Fixers, Wrecking Ball, and Jay Bradley. So, that's a three-way, and then AJ Kazana with a partner that is yet to be named. So if that's not it, we're all done here today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
That's three-way.
Thank you.
Yeah, Andy, you're correct. He did not bathe much. You're absolutely right about that.
That's disgusting.
I do want to say, Andy, if you have not done so and we're not, send me a friend request. But also, one other thing I wanted to mention to Andy about the LIWF. Do you remember when Andy, when I was under the hood and did the Purple Destroyer for that couple
What's up,
of
Jim?
times?
Thank you.
Oh, but that one night when I came out all tied up and puked all over Bobby Lombardi's feet. You remember that? Yes.
Yes, there you go. He remembers this. All right, Andy. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We're gonna get out of here. So next week we will be talking to certain NWA talent, former NWA talent, I should say, because he's not been involved in quite some time. But he is a legend in the sport of professional wrestling, and especially the National Wrestling Alliance. And I guess that's about it, folks. Thank you again. And don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, share.
Absolutely. And does